Hello, it's Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. We're back. We hope you're having a happy day wherever you're listening to this audio content from. As always, we'd like to thank you for your continued support of Greg Grizzled and Gaijin social media and writing efforts. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is episode 025 of the Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. Definitely not a podcast show. A light and fluffy look at social media, Japan, Japanese food, expat life, and life in general. As always, your retweets of this and all the wonderful, wonderful, wonderful content that we actively tweet and retweet out on Craig Hoffman 11 on Twitter is appreciated. Thank you in advance for your help in getting the good word out about Greg Grizzled and Gaijin. Another good show today, I hope, talking about purpose, both in life and on social media, as well as developing a larger audience for your content and social media platform. Specifically, we'll be discussing blogs and Twitter. Years ago, as a young man, I was pretty happy. Things were really going in my direction. I remember graduating high school. I got a very nice scholarship to a pretty good university as a music major. And life seemed to be trending upward. 4 years later, after an enormous struggle, I graduated. And I got a full scholarship and teaching assistantship to another university for graduate school. And I spent 2 years there working really hard. And I even met a very nice girl from my undergraduate days, and we were engaged to be married. Like, I had the life plan. Now, I'll spare you the gory details, but all of that fell apart. Some of it my doing, some of it the universe. I'd be left to quibble over what percentage each party of that was responsible for, but it happened, and that's the way it was. And real life smacked me square in the face like a shovel. And I got a job, and I tried to carve out some measure of happiness for me in my life. After all, the purpose of our lives is to be happy, as the Dalai Lama says. But it just never came together, which was a very surreal experience. I would work, and I would work, and I would work. I had grown up in a family with blue-collar workers who went to the factory, put in long hours, sweat, blood, and tears to bring a paycheck home to put food on the table for their wives and ever-growing families. And I figured I would be much the same. I had seen from those people, work gives you meaning and purpose, and life is empty without it. That's Stephen Hawking. And my life, when I didn't work a ton, was rather empty. I had very few friends who were available to go out socially. I had no girlfriend, certainly not married by any stretch of the imagination. And that left me with a lot of free time. So I worked even more. At one point, up to about 120 hours a week. In fact, for 1 2-year stretch, I never had a day off from work. And actually, I didn't make any money, as you might have suspected. In fact, I found myself several thousands and thousands of dollars in debt. Worse, the companies I was working for hit hard economic times, and my hours and jobs were cut down to nearly nothing. I went from 120 hours a week to 4, and sitting by the phone, hoping against hope that some coworker would call in sick so my company would call me in for more hours of work. And that's the way it went. Of course, as I've written and said on my blog and various social media, I got the opportunity to come to Japan, and I took it. And I've had a fair measure of success as an English teacher here in Japan. I started out in a very nice job. I was very fortunate to find another job for a very good company, and I make a rather nice living, surprisingly, as an English teacher in Japan, although it takes a lot of hard work. But as I had written and said numerous times, I turned 40, and again, my life seemed to lack purpose and perhaps to a degree direction. Of course, I knew the general way my life was heading, but it always seemed to be basically in the same exact place. I remember looking at my Facebook memories year by year by year by year, and I could see the same events, the same meals, the same conversations. Except that in those pictures, the only difference was I was getting more gray, grizzled, and gaijined. And that bothered me. And so I set about writing and blogging and social media, not for fame and fortune. I'm not against that. Not for a new job in a different field. And I'm certainly not against that either. But I wanted some purpose beyond rolling out of bed, taking care of those for whom I am responsible for in my house, and selling my soul to a Japanese company. And I know that's the way it works for many, many, many people here in Japan, salarymen, as well as more recently salary women. And of course, those of you listening in the West who are crunching and crushing yourselves daily to put food on the table, trying to move around and shift money to make ends meet month to month to month. That very much used to be my existence in America, and I know, to be sure, that it gets old and easy to give up. But I wanted more out of my life. And of course, any idea, plan, or purpose may be placed in the mind through repetition of thought. And that's what I did. Nightly, even to this day, I tell myself what I want to accomplish. I remember saying, I want to write a blog. I want to write a blog often. I want to grow on Twitter. And I want to be as successful as I possibly can be on social media in writing and blogging. Now, of course, everyone says that, and you have to be willing to put the work in behind it. And that's my specialty, perhaps my lone talent in life, that I'm willing to grind and grind and grind away at the most mundane things in life, whether that be English teaching with the same lessons day by day, class by class, year by year, or on social media with the most mundane of tasks, tweeting, retweeting, engaging, creation, engaging, tweeting, retweeting, again and again and again. But that is what it takes over time, the consistency and one's ability to stay focused and sustain that focus to be successful in blogging and social media, and really anything that one truly, truly wants to be or do in life. But of course, getting an audience is hard. Sustaining an audience is hard. It demands consistently of thought, of purpose, and of action over a long period of time. And that's my favorite singer, Bruce Springsteen. Now, there is a professional, one of the great all-time artists, telling you how hard it is to get an audience. And it's really hard to build an active core, an audience for writing in 2018. We live in times where 1 of 4 Americans read a single book last year. They read 1 book. And as a blogger, I'm expecting them to read new content 2 to 3 to 4 times a week. That is a tough sell in 2018. So if you look at the blog, I create more visual content. I create more audio content, trying to appeal to the audience for them to stick around and read and engage what I am really passionate about. And people get so stubborn, like this is the way I'm going to do it, and people can like it or they can leave it. I've seen some social media content people say. And you know what the audience does in 2018? They leave you. Because there are 100 other people who are willing to bend and change, adapt, whatever they are doing to meet the demands and the wishes and desires of the social media audience that they are trying to attract. And that's true in life as we bring friends and family closer to us, and coworkers, or even complete strangers. You can be as hard and as straightforward as you want to be in life, but if you are not, at least on some level, willing to be more flexible, consistent, and driven for a purpose in your life, you're going to find your life, your social media, and your heart very, very empty. That's it, and have a great, great day.